Hi, friends. Welcome again to another episode of Beyond the Clouds H2S Transformation. And this time, the transformation is very real. It's not just about technology for technology's sake, not about faster computers. I believe that every area of life is going to be touched. And here's Surbhi Kaul with us. I didn't know that you were a classical singer. What made you become an engineer?
Thank you, first of all, for having me on your show, Shankar. Such a pleasure to be here. And if I give you the very mundane answer that you would hear probably from 95% of us Indians in the Valley, they would say the same thing, that growing up, you were given a few options to either be an engineer or a doctor. And it's precisely that you have to choose one. And the way you make a choice is like, I could not even handle the dissection of a frog, and I almost passed out, and I still do at the sight of blood. So I'm like, that's not a profession for me. So I have to stick to engineering. It wasn't because of any love, deep-rooted love for engineering that I became an engineer. Sorry to burst anybody's bubble who might have thought that. But I did enjoy mathematics a lot. Parents will always say that if you go down that path, iska kya matlab hai? What will you do? Are you going to be a school teacher? What does that mean for your future? So that is the story why I went into engineering. That's how I ended up in IIT.
Oh my God, it's really a coincidence. I got into engineering because I was good at math Olympiads, but with math, you don't find a job. So I went into engineering, and the nearest to that was electronics and computer science, a lot of geeking out on math. So that's amazing. And that's so you kept music in the background, I guess, until you reached YouTube.
Yeah, actually, no, it wasn't YouTube. I was serendipity, and we'll talk about that. My passion for music was from a very early age. I grew up around musicians, and it was part of my life. But of course, in those times, it was something that you do as a hobby, and that's about it. But then I did learn singing ghazals when I was growing up in Lucknow. And then after coming to the US, I pursued my training and I learned Hindustani classical music. So it has always been my closest passion has been music more than engineering.
Wow. And what was your professional journey like? I remember you did stints at HP and many companies. How did you end up working in so many different environments?
Yeah, so HP was my first job, and I still have a very soft corner for the company. I went to school after completing my undergrad at IIT. I came to Texas A&M to do my master's, and I got hired from campus to come work at HP Palo Alto. And they invited me for on-site interviews a few days in California, in the Bay Area, and I was sold. And so it was bound to happen. And very quickly, I realized that loved HP, but it was for a person who's really interested, like you said, about transforming. HP was a bigger company, and I really wanted to get my hands on a place and product which would be growing fast. And so I ended up going to Cisco for a few years after that. As you can see, my foundation is being formed in infrastructure and networking. And I got a CCIE while I was at Cisco. And then I did multiple stints after that in B2B companies, including 410 Networks, which was a startup that had huge goals and ambitions and ended up not having a great exit, but got acquired by Dell at the end. During my time at 410 Networks, I kind of migrated from very hands-on engineering and customer-facing roles to product management. I built an affinity and really liked the work the product team did, and I was a liaison to them. So I ended up moving into product management and spent the last, I would say, 15, 18 years in product management. And I moved into, from B2B world, I moved into B2C. So you're right. I did like go around a lot, building my complete understanding of how various segments and various types of products are built. And at Google, I built a lot of B2C products, which was a new thing for me, new learning, customer centricity. How do we think about building products that are easy to onboard and consume compared to the B2B world, where you build more complex products and then you have to train for a week to help people learn, adopt your products, and then you get into the operational state. In Google, we always had to think about how do you build products that are intuitive, that the customer can download an app or go to a website. You help them through the workflow, you guide them in the product. So it's more of a product-led workflow. And after that, at Juniper, I've come back to my roots of infrastructure and networking, but again, with the mindset of transformation. Here is an industry which has been very much like heavy B2B of training and complex products. And how can we morph and transform that into very much consumer-like thinking? You're thinking of B2B2C, that your end user that you want to influence is still a consumer mindset. And how do you build products that are easy to use so that you can win in that market today? So that's where I'm at right now, leading customer experience and building products that are customer centric at Juniper.
In order to be successful in this day of AI and machine learning, a lot is happening at the edge. So, in what
Yeah.
ways have you been able to contribute? What kind of connectivity is needed to make that kind of edge computing or machine learning successful for people?
That's a great question. Like if I go again, starting to compare the B2C world to the B2B world, we see that machine learning, recommendation engines, and really truly using the inferences has been happening in the consumer space for a long time. Whether you take the Targets and the Amazons of the world, or whether you take companies like Meta and Google of the world, they have understood and used the information that they have about their customers and consumers and really use that to build inferences on what kind of products they would like, what kind of content they would like to watch, etc. Whereas in the B2B space, again, coming back to that, we have not really been able to do that. And then there are multiple reasons for that. First of all is that the data, availability of data to build the machine learning models is much more readily available into B2C because you have millions of consumers' data available to you that can help you build these models. Whereas in B2B, a lot of customer data is siloed, it's broken, it's sort of fragmented within the organization. And even if it's you decide to consolidate it, there is this fear or concern about using your customer data, even if you anonymize it, using it to create models. One customer may not want the other customer to know that customers like you are using this infrastructure, which is so easy to use in Amazon to say that, oh, customers who purchase this product have purchased these other three products. But in B2B, your customers may not be comfortable with you sharing that kind of information about customer A with the customer B and C. So data has been a challenge in B2B to build these machine learning models. And the other thing is also that the depth of information that we have in B2B is less because we only know about that particular silo of the world, right? So if I look at a customer today, I know how they're using the networking products, but beyond that, I may not have the ability to know what exactly is their business application like, how does it use my infrastructure that I can really give them the insights on what is the best way for you to configure your infrastructure to be successful for a health tech versus a fintech, etc. So there are nuanced challenges in using machine learning capabilities. However, I think we are at an inflection point where generative AI is helping a lot in many other aspects and facets, not necessarily just inside the product, but beyond the product in processes, in building efficiencies, whether it's in marketing or sales or post-sales customer success space. There is so much that can be done by using generative AI and other insights building capabilities.
Looks like we've all drunk the Gen AI Kool-Aid, but it is working. It is working. So one thing I find curious is that you worked in very distinctly diverse environments. I believe you started with the HP way and consensus management style. Then you went to Cisco during the gung-ho days of the routers and the switches and hyper growth. And then you came to
Yeah.
Google where you're working on consumer products with great people like Susan Wojcicki. Again,
Mm.
very hyper growth, but again, in a different space. And now you're at Juniper trying to expand into multiple markets. Where did you feel the most challenged and where did you learn the most?
It's an excellent question. I would say that in every company, there was different type of learning happening. So when I think of learning, I categorize it into two sections. One is your IQ learning, where you're learning a lot about the architecture, the infrastructure, or whatever technology bits you're learning. And the other learning that is happening in each company is how do you run the business? How are you a good leader? How do you motivate your teams? How do you keep the focus on growing the business? I would call them IQ and EQ learning. And it was different in different companies. Some companies companies, I just had a lot of IQ learning, but I wasn't like happy with the EQ, the emotional quotient of the company. And then some companies, it was the other way around. There was a lot of leadership qualities that I really believed in that I would like to emulate as I'm exploring my next journey post Juniper. I'm thinking about what are places where you can find a good mix of both your ability to learn and grow as an individual and knowledge base, and also grow by learning with amazing leaders who know how to motivate and engage and really create an environment where everybody brings their best selves. So I think I'm still on the path of the learning journey, Shankar. I feel that everyday transformation that we talk about is not just about work and products and industry, but also ourselves. I feel that every day I want to be a better version of myself. I want to learn more. I want to be a leader. Yes, I look for both in every company.
And you've also been an amazing mentor, particularly on go to market strategies, how to build a real product that you can take to market. Can you talk about that a little bit? Which one did you find interesting? Which one did you find challenging guiding these companies?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. A lot of us get on this path of how do you give back? Once you have achieved a certain level of success in our own lives, I think it becomes important and also fulfilling to figure out how to give back. And a few areas where I like to give back, one of them you called out is being a mentor and a coach to several startups. And I have done that through IIT startups. I've also done through some of the Thai Angels programs. But how do you really engage with startups and help them with the breadth of knowledge that you have accumulated over the years to say, take some of those nuggets and help these companies unblock their ability to take a good product and figure out how to find the right product market fit, how to find the right beachhead segment to be successful, and then how to grow their business. So I advise a lot of companies, and I plan to do more of it in the coming years. The idea is that product and GTM, if you have these two figured out, then the path to really open the doors becomes easier. So I do that. But along with mentoring these startups, I also mentor a lot of women leaders or women who are mid-career journeys who are trying to figure out how to get to the next level. What skill set do I need? What soft skills? How do I navigate? And I feel that a lot of women in tech, like myself, who have become leaders, we had our own set of struggles and challenges. And if I can help the younger generation get an easier path in by sharing my knowledge, my learnings, I absolutely want to do that. And I feel that every generation that is going through their set of struggles should then turn around and make the path easier for the next generation, because that's how over time we improve the overall situation of women or the overall percentage of women in leadership, in boardrooms, in get ourselves a seat at the table becomes easier. We become more prominent part of that ecosystem if we make the path easier for the next generation. So that's another area I love to give back to. So I've been a big part of Women in Product organization in the Bay Area that was started by women, female product management leaders. And then lastly, I also teach at UCLA, which has been the most fulfilling thing that I've ever done is teaching.
Exciting. And thank you for giving back. It is necessary. But one question, a lot of the companies that you mentor, they're started by engineers. A lot of them
Mhm.
won't even see the need for go to market or product strategies. Oh, build the product and it'll sell by itself. It's like a
Yeah.
blind spot. How do you assist those kinds of companies or those kinds of leaders?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I see that struggle all the time. Just this morning, I was talking to a startup where they have a great idea, but that idea and the tech that they have built is applicable to many, many uses. And now they're trying to figure out of the 30 plus areas where their technology could impact, how do they choose one? And so now they're realizing after they have built the tech that we need to figure out, are we able to sell it? And they're also realizing that to sell a product, you need that perfect understanding of the pain point of the customer. So one thing that I would say that is easier to think in the B2B space is you start with that thinking that, okay, what is the customer struggling with? What am I trying to solve? But a lot of times when engineering companies are very engineering centric, they have this mindset of, I'm building this amazing technology. Somebody will want it. It is not always as easy as it sounds to engineers. And it's important for them to have this understanding of the business, understanding of the who will pay for it. Why will they pay for it? And is this a big enough pain point that somebody would pay for it? Or will they say, yeah, it is a pain point, but it's not bad enough. I don't want to pay X amount. I'd rather deal with the workaround that I've used for the last X number of years or months. That thinking only comes after a company has gone through a little bit of that pain. Or founders who have done this before and have learned it in their previous journeys, they can say, okay, next time we start, we're going to make sure we understand the product market fit and the pain point before we build a product.
So often we learn it the hard way, having gone through the pain of it. And
Yeah.
thank you for shedding light on that. And now, on the other hand, I did support the Global Women's Leadership Network as an advisor a long time
Nice.
ago. So I fully
Yeah.
understand the challenges that women go through. And one of the most common challenges is, especially when they go into management and senior roles,
Mhm.
is the work-life balance,
Mhm.
because often
Yeah.
the woman is considered the primary caretaker of children and so on. We saw that it got worse during the pandemic when many things were closed and they had to be the default parent taking care of the children. How are you able to help women navigate this journey between professional goals and also the personal, especially given that we still live in a very paternalistic world?
That's an excellent question. It's very true, Shankar, that women, no matter what culture, women who are also managing families, so managing home and work together, they get this ability to balance the two. Is a constant struggle for women. And I will tell you this, there is no one size fits all answer to this. I have seen different women because it's also about their own mindset, and different women come to different conclusions and different solutions. And I say this to all the young women I mentor, that don't believe that what worked for a person A works for you. You have to figure out your own personality, and you have to figure out whether you can build an ecosystem of getting help, whether it's in-laws or friends and family, having nannies, whatever the ecosystem you have to create to help you manage that work life and home life better, do it. Don't feel, there's a lot of guilt also that women feel when they're going to take a meeting versus picking up a kid from school. For everybody, it may not be something that they can handle. So it depends on the person. What I share with women, that there are many, many ways to go through this. Personally, I took a break for 2.5 years after I had my second kid, and it was hard to come back. Not for me, but for industry to give me a place again at the level where I had left. They're like, oh, you have been out for 2.5 years. Yes, I have been out, but my skill set has not changed. Yes, I will have to pick up technology that has changed, but it was challenging. I share that openly with all the women I mentor. But was I happy with my decision? Absolutely. But everybody else may not be. As a person, you have to decide what works for you. There are many, many ways, but it continues to be a challenge. And I don't see it not being a challenge. What I see is that as technology becomes improved, as we have this hybrid work world now, some good things that came out of COVID, I think it has become a little easier. COVID had its challenges, but this ability to do hybrid work, and industry and corporate America coming to terms with that hybrid has helped a lot of women as well. So I'm
Very,
hopeful that in future it'll get easier.
very true. We all went to the training of changing our work habits so that we have the
Yeah.
choices. And thank God we have those choices. Speaking of which, once in your lifetime, you got a chance to work with music, your real passion. And I believe you worked on YouTube and other assets at Google TV. Is that right? What was that like,
That's right.
combining elements of your passion and elements of your technical prowess as well as your business ability?
Actually, YouTube was one of my best experiences, I have to say. And not just because I'm passionate about music and I had the ability to work on a platform that really gave artists the ability to get closer to the audience without needing to first go to a big label and say, I want to produce something, and convince somebody of your skill before you could sing a song or produce a song. Now, artists had the ability and still have the ability through a platform like YouTube to reach millions of audience and share their skills and be able to be recognized for their skill without being at the mercy of a big label. So I love that about the platform. But beyond that, what I really enjoyed, Shankar, was working for Susan Wojcicki. She's one of the most amazing leaders, and I'm super biased also because she's a woman leader. Got to learn so much from her about her leadership style, about her focus on metrics, about how to run a large organization while also being a mother of a few kids. So I was like super impressed. Worked very closely with her, saw her how she looked through each product review. Despite running such a big organization, she was very keenly focused into how each review was happening, how we thought of features, how we thought of new products and technology, etc. So great time in every IQ, EQ, both were replenished in excessively there.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we both met with Esther Wachitsky, her mom, was literally an embodiment of all of this. Amazing. You've done so many things. You've been in management, you've been in leadership roles, you've worked with startups. What is it that you're excited about at this stage in your career?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm a believer of lifelong learning. I really enjoy learning. Generative AI has given me a new wind on something new to learn, understand, incorporate in my products, my life. And that keeps me excited. New technology, new discoveries. But in my personal life, just waking up every morning to say that what are the exciting, impactful things that I can do?
If there's any advice you want to give to people, especially the starry-eyed girls who want to get into technology professions, what would that be?
Starry-eyed kids are so close to my heart because they have so many dreams and aspirations. And I want to just tell them that go after your dreams, dream big and go after them. Don't shy away. No is a common thing. Young kids, entrepreneurs, aspiring leaders hear all the time. And the ability to charge through a no and walk through a room of naysayers and keep your head high, hold your own, understand your own convictions and beliefs and stay true to them is extremely important. So I just want to give the next generation a lot of courage and a lot of hope that the world ahead is going to be amazing. I'm excited about the future, and I want to bring that excitement to every young kid out there.
When I'm listening to you, I'm reminded of a queen in India called Jhansi Ki Rani. No matter what you go through, she would march on, and she literally fought against the Brits, trying to get them out of
Yeah,
the country. So please
yeah.
continue to march on, Surbhi. And to people out there, this is exactly why I do the show, because it brings me alive, gives me various viewpoints. No one has a crystal ball to predict the future. But as I talk to more people, I listen to their viewpoints and learn about new technologies and new ways of doing things. I'm much more optimistic about the future than ever before. This is not just a technological revolution, it's also a revolution in mindsets. So let's go create this. Please come forward. I want to hear from you. And Surabhi, continue the journey. It's amazing. And I look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you so much for having me on your show. It was such a pleasure talking to you.